Rumors about the new Xbox sure are heating up. I wonder how many of them will make it to May 21st. A new Call of Duty already? Well, I guess it is a new year. Pirate a game dev sim? No. In this game dev sim pirates you. The Wii U gets a little software update that improves load times by a pretty substantial amount, leading us to wonder, is Nintendo really a software company anymore? And another week and more studios experiencing layoffs. Let's talk about what's happening there. Alright, hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Tuesday Newsday. I'm Syl, here to give you the top stories from the last week of gaming. Got some big ones here and a lot more than usual, so we're going to jump right in. First up, Microsoft is trying very hard at this point to keep rumors of the new Xbox under wraps. However, that hasn't stopped a few details from leaking out ahead of the company's May 21st press conference to unveil some of the specifics. Sources so far indicating a couple of interesting rumors about the system. The first one is that the dreaded Always Online may in fact be true, but not quite how we thought. The current idea behind the Always Online idea is that it wouldn't be a requirement at the system level, but rather would be a toggle that developers could flip on or off to act as a sort of DRM. It's up to the developers to choose, at least per rumors currently, up to developers to choose if they want to implement that or not. It'll be interesting to see if that makes the release, because Always Online DRM has been kind of a hot topic in gaming lately, particularly on the PC side, where it has been deployed in multiple releases already, and in many of those cases has not had the best reception. Diablo 3 and SimCity coming first to mind. In addition to that oft-rumored rumor, some additional details are coming to light. The first of which is that Microsoft does also appear to be working on streaming and video sharing functionality for the next generation Xbox. The idea currently is that the Xbox itself would function as a sort of DVR, allowing you to record as much footage as you want, and then trim it down to highlights for upload later, rather than uploading the entirety of the game, which seems to be the PlayStation 4 approach at present. Another difference that the rumors indicate may be coming true is that Microsoft is also looking at implementing something of a more interesting feature for sharing that would allow you to capture video footage of specific in-game events. Triggering achievements, or maybe things like headshots, would allow you to capture video footage that you could then immediately share online. So that might be a potentially different and interesting direction for Microsoft to go in. Couple of other cooler features that are being debated with the new Xbox and that are being heavily rumored at this point in time are some revamps to the achievement system. So currently on the Xbox 360, achievements are kind of locked in at launch and don't really change all that much unless DLC for a game comes out, where the next generation Xbox is rumored to have dynamic achievements that can be developer adjusted. So a lot of those event weekends that you see currently in online enabled games on the current gen platforms would actually tie into achievements that you could get for special events. They can also be tied to communal goals, so things like a big set of kills for a group of players over a weekend. And you can also create cross-title achievements, is the current rumor again, which would allow you as a developer or publisher to set achievements for reaching specific points in two different games, which might allow you to have some linkage between sequels as well, which is pretty cool. I think that's an interesting idea that developers could do well to implement. In addition to cross-title achievements, Microsoft does appear to be working on cross-platform achievements as well, which would allow you to do something like play a game on your new Xbox and then use a companion app, a website, or a different game on the Xbox 360, and there would be achievements unlocked for achieving specific things within both the old game or the companion app or the online website and the next-gen game on the new Xbox. This sounds a little interesting as well, because this has some potential to set up some really cool crossovers for Xbox 360 releases that then carry into launch, or for games maybe that carry over pretty quickly from generation to generation, maybe games that are launched on both systems within the same window, or companion games, much like we saw during the beginning of this generation, where you would have PlayStation 2 and Wii titles that were different but similar to the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 releases. So that could be some cool potential there as well. The last thing being discussed is some revamp to Xbox Live as well. Microsoft is looking at social networking sites as kind of an example to follow. And the two rumors that pop out of this idea are that friending will be unlimited, a common thread, and something we've also noticed from Sony as well with the PlayStation 4, although they have yet to confirm that it is truly unlimited. And then the other feature would be, rather than it being a two-way friendship where you have to reach out and accept a friend request in order to link your accounts together and be able to see when each other is online, you would instead be able to have sort of a Twitter-like system where you can follow other gamers and they can choose to follow you back or not to follow you back. And that'll allow you to share achievements and stuff one-way or two-way. And the same thing would go for game requests and other such information. So a lot of exciting rumors there. There's also some new hardware rumors that are coming out about some different technology that Microsoft is working on. We'll try to get some footage of that in for next week. Now on to our next item. It should be a little surprise at this point that Activision is working on a new Call of Duty as an annual franchise that has made a lot of sales records over the last several years, to some people's dismay and surprise. It might be obvious what side I'm on there. Call of Duty has launched a teaser site now showing a ghost mask online. They're actually targeting a relatively recent reveal for this as well. It's looking like May 1st they will be unveiling some details about this game. Now, much like many of these targeted unveilings, there was a little slip in the cracks, and a site in Europe actually went live with a product code for a game called Call of Duty Ghosts. Currently, it's only been confirmed through the retailer site for the Wii U and the PC. I would expect that by the time May 1st rolls around, we'll see a similar announcement, except for that it applies to Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 as well. The interesting thing here is that we may be seeing Call of Duty released on next-gen platforms as well. If the holiday window holds true for both the PlayStation 4 and the next-generation Xbox, we could be looking at a very, very recent window for all of these games to come out. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to see an Xbox 360, a PS4, PS3, and an Xbox 720, or whatever they call it, version all released simultaneously. Probably my favorite story this week just came out today, and it's about a game called Dev Tycoon, which is a Windows PC sim game that tasks you with running your own game studio. Now, the game was relatively unknown. No one that I've talked to actually heard of the game until the news came out today that something interesting happens when you pirate the game. So this morning, the sad news was that while the game has not done well, 97% of its users have pirated the game. Those users, however, were in for a little bit of a surprise. The developer of this game, thinking a little bit ahead, decided to seed his own altered version of the game to popular torrent sites, and made it such that when pirates unlocked the game, they thought they were getting a pretty good deal. It had some surprises, including some tweaks that weren't in the retail purchasable game, but it had one nasty side effect. Your game studio could be cranking along at full efficiency, doing really, really well, and when you reach the current generation of console systems, guess what happens? Your company dies to piracy. Big surprise, right? This modeling of the real-life consequences, especially to an indie developer such as Green Heart Games, which is the company that developed this game, is kind of an interesting tack to take, and it follows in a trend of interesting gameplay-related DRM mechanisms like Serious Sam 3 and some other entries on the PC as well have had, where torrented or pirated versions of the game just make the game really, really hard instead of actually enforcing any sort of actual DRM scheme. I have to admit, as a gamer, I'm a big fan of these. I definitely believe in supporting developers that put out product that you like, especially for indie developers, where that work often means life or death for them, or their studios, rather. I mean, I hope game developers aren't dying in the streets, but maybe that's a thing that happens. But this is an interesting tack to take, and it's been a pretty cool story to follow all day, because it looks like the exposure from this may help this game actually get off the ground a little bit further. Some sad news to the industry that we all love and follow so passionately. EA and Square Enix Europe both announced over the last week some plans to restructure and to lay off some employees. Square Enix Europe is the latest in a line of efforts from Square Enix overall that has been doing some major restructuring over the last roughly 6 months due to some poor performance and missing of some investor estimates. On the Square Enix side, there's not been a lot of announcements as to who's affected by this, other than that it will affect the United Kingdom office for Square Enix Europe. But it's based heavily on really bad performance against measures for digital titles in particular. The company had expected some massive sales from games like Hitman Absolution and Tomb Raider, both of which did not do as well as expected. So the news comes as a bit of a shock, considering that those two games were actually pretty good. Tomb Raider in particular standing out as a pretty excellent title. And on that note, not to plug it too much, but I noticed this and I'm taking advantage of it. Tomb Raider is $30 today on Green Man Gaming, so if you're watching this, go get it. If you don't have it, it's pretty awesome. On the EA side of the layoff news this week, things are a little bit more known there. The company is going through some restructuring, fresh off its win of Worst Company in America. The two are unrelated, but, you know, probably not the best idea to do for PR reasons. But anyways, 2 studios and a partner program were affected by the restructuring. So PopCap in Vancouver and Quicklime Games are both being shuttered fully, and that's where the majority of the layoffs seem to be coming from. EA is also restructuring their partner program, which has led them to take pretty much the entire current program and dismantle it. So that's where another large portion of the layoffs are coming from. No firm numbers exist at this time, but it looks like roughly several hundred employees are affected. And I hope personally that many of them do get back on their feet and find good jobs quickly. But in good news this week, Nintendo did release a Wii U system update version 3.0 to the Wii U download late last week. This is a pretty substantial update that brings a lot of big changes to the Wii U and the way it works. The biggest change is a lot of restructuring of the operating system's operating code to improve load times pretty drastically across the board. Not only in games and with disk loading, but also in just the operating system itself. Early tests from game journalists have come in, and it's looking like performance on the initial load up of the system is improved by as much as 33%, dropping from 15 seconds to 10 seconds. In other places, it's a little less pronounced, but it's a good improvement by Nintendo, noting that the Wii U has been pretty sluggish, and if you've had one, you know what I'm talking about. It is not a fast system, and these updates are improving that, which is good to see. The update also brings with it a number of other changes to the Wii U system software, including the ability to download and install software titles while the system is in standby, some improvements and usability changes to many of the system's built-in applications, and the launch of the Wii U Virtual Console service, which is launching with a similar lineup to what the Wii had when it went live with the Virtual Console. So a lot of time-tested, and trustworthy favorites like Super Mario World are going live with the service and should be live as of the time you're watching this. So if you have any interest in picking those up and playing them on your Wii U, go get them. But that's all the news we have for this Tuesday Newsday, so thank you for watching. My name is Syl. Don't forget to subscribe to me here on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and like my Facebook fan page. And don't forget again to tune in every Tuesday for more Tuesday Newsday.